We are already on, is it?
So all this was recording, right? हाँ, cool.
Anyways, ये सब तो कट ही होगा.
Sari ga ma pa. Oh, you are my baby.
But it's making me uncomfortable.
No. Hi, recording on, hai na? Sani da pa ma ga ri. How do you usually start?
I don't usually start.
Congratulations.
How should I start?
That's how art works. And celebrate. हाँ, ऐसे थोड़ी ना कि 10 बजे बैठ के मैं art create करूँगा.
हाँ, या फिर ऐसे snap करके Hello, Dr. Sid Warrior, how are you doing?
Oh, thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure.
And then I start behaving like what is it? Ranveer.
So, Dr. Warrior, do you believe in ghosts? No, sir.
This podcast and this conversation is about music, and आपने ये वाली बातें बता रखी हैं, but today I would like you to touch that in as much depth as you want, right? So मैंने लिखा भी यही है कि why music makes me, and then there are certain pointers. So why music makes me nostalgic, first of all.
Such a beautiful question, and something that everybody will automatically relate to it.
Yeah.
So, just to set context, give me one song that takes you back.
Yes. So यही था मेरा point, which was there's a song called O Rangrees from Bhag Milkha Bhag. I used to hear it in 2013, back when the movie released, and I was falling in love. And there was this particular memory card होते थे तब, तो वो उसमें मैं सुनता था. Then I found that memory card in 2024. And when I plugged that in and heard that song, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं नहीं सुन रहा था, but I've heard it after a gap. It took me in a certain place. And I'm feeling certain things जो मैंने तब feel करी थी. And suddenly started to think of that girl also. After so long.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, ये क्या हुआ? एकदम से shift क्या हुआ? And then मेरे senses regain हुए. But ये transport कैसे हो गया मैं? That's.
Yeah.
Is that nostalgia?
It is, absolutely. So, for me, there's a songwriter called Cliff Richards, who wrote this song Congratulations, जो हर birthday पे या हर achievement में play किया जाता है ना. Congratulations and celebrate. हाँ, everybody's heard it.
Yeah.
Very few people know it's by Cliff Richards.
Okay.
But my dad used to listen to Cliff Richards a lot when I used to grow up. And whenever I hear one of his songs, it just takes me back. I'm back in school. I'm coming back home from school. ऐसा मेरा school bag है, हाथ में water bottle है. तो I go back to that. I feel like a kid again. क्योंकि वो जो memory है, so memory के अलग-अलग parts होते हैं. ठीक है? People always ask कि अच्छा memory कहाँ पे stored है? But memory का एक point नहीं होता. Memory के कई सारे tentacles होते हैं. और एक टेंटिकल होता है विजुअल मेमोरी, एक टेंटिकल होता है ऑडियो मेमोरी, एक टेंटिकल होता है इमोशनल मेमोरी. तो व्हेन आई टेक यू बैक टू योर चाइल्डहुड टू अ वन पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट, जैसे तुम घर में बैठे हो, तो यू फील स्मॉल, यू कैन सी योर चाइल्डहुड होम, you can smell maybe your mom's cooking, you can hear your grandmom's voice, or you can hear your little sibling's voice. All of this is part of that memory.
Yeah.
And if that memory is associated with some music, and if that music comes back to you exactly like how it was when you were a child, it can drag all the other memory tentacles with it. Just like how seeing an old photograph can do it. If you see a childhood photo of you and your, say, brother was playing in some swimming pool that you used to go to when you were a kid, so many memories come back that are associated with that.
Right.
So that's what music does. Because music, the song that you're listening to now is exactly the song that you heard back then. That song hasn't changed. So because that has come back, it triggers all those old memories. So it is dragging everything from every part of your brain. तुम्हारा विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स से विजन आता है, साउंड आता है, स्मेल आता है, इमोशन आता है. सो दैट इज व्हाट नॉस्टैल्जिया इज. इट्स लाइक अ की टू ओपन एवरीथिंग.
There's in our jam we do this thing called a 90s playlist. Jams are in Bangalore. Jams are lovely because most of the paying people still are 90s kids, millennials. So when I do the ads wala playlist, right? Googly Moogly Whoosh and
Washing powder Nirma.
Oh my god. And then उसके end में then I do there used to be a TV serial called कसौटी जिंदगी की, and उसका एक title track था, and we would cringe around like क्या TV serial, right? और अभी जब मैंने वो डाला है, we sang it and I left when the title line came and everyone sang it. And I've then put it on Reel recently, and people are going crazy. कि my mother was there, वो बैठ जाती थी 8 बजे, and people are remembering of their mothers who have passed away, right?
Absolutely. So most of the memories that you've ever experienced are all there. And hypnosis has taught us this. Because a lot of people will go, and a properly conducted hypnosis therapy session can bring back memories that you didn't even know you had. Right? And that is accessing the same networks that music does. Which can I take you back in your memories to a place where you were different and make you feel different. And this is especially valuable if what you're feeling right now is not very good. Let me take you to a place where everything was better. And let me work my way up from there. So it's sort of like rebooting your system. Which is why I think music is so wonderful. क्योंकि अगर तुमने, if you have discovered a song that makes you happy, तुम उसको lightly मत लो. बहुत बड़ी बात है. Treasure that song. Because essentially that song is doing what therapy might do. That song is doing what a pill might do, which is changing the networks in your brain, changing the chemicals in your brain to make you feel a particular way. It's not the solution to a problem, but in that moment, if you have a song that makes you feel good, have a playlist of that. It's not a laughing matter. Like have a playlist of songs that make you feel good. It's not to share with anybody else. It's not for party में बजाएंगे. It's your personal secret. रखो उसको, मतलब वो बहुत important बात है.
Naturally also happens that way, right? With a lot of people.
Yeah.
जब heartbreak होता है तो माना कि हम यार नहीं सब पोइट बन जाते हैं.
Oh yeah, we all have our heartbreak songs.
That's where the decoder in you sort of वो आता है surface पे. Another the second part of it is why music makes you feel goosebumps.
Yeah.
So we did Vande Matram this time, inspired by so Rahman sahab did
Rahman one.
The Rahman one, yes. He did it in Ashoka University. It was just playing keys and everyone was singing. And we have always seen those videos जहाँ पे वो stadium भरा होता है. At that particular moment, they do 80,000 people doing Vande Matram. And every time, मतलब अब तो एक बार मैंने वो वीडियो देख लिया 60 सेकंड का, तो प्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी आ गई. ठीक है, ऐसा ही फील होता है. फिर से देखा और फिर से इमीडिएटली उसके बाद भी फील हो रहा है. दिस इज वेरी स्ट्रेंज टू मी. ये क्यों होता है?
So there are a couple of things here. One is ASMR. So ASMR is when something you listen to gives you a sensation in another sense. So it's an audio sense. Right? You're listening to something. But you can see something. So sound has gotten converted into sight in your brain, but it can also get converted into touch. So that is what is tactile sensation. So your hair standing up, you feel like something is on your body. So if say you hear the sound of cotton getting rubbed on a mic, okay, so हमें सुनाई नहीं देगा. But maybe it's gotten recorded. So that sound, if somebody hears, they might get a tactile sensation. भाई कुछ तो है, body पे है. That is what ASMR is. So this is one component of it. If you whisper into the mic, they might think that I'm whispering in their ear right now. That also works. Okay. So that is your brain converting sound into a different sense and thinking कि मेरे body में कुछ है. That is one aspect of it. The other aspect is any emotion that is strong enough it overspills into all your senses. Okay. So if you feel any emotion strong enough, it could be anger. बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा है, you will have body reactions. You know, your fists will go tight, your eyes will get
course.
dilated, you'll
course.
start breathing hard.
Yeah.
तो body में reaction होगा ही.
Right.
Love.
Hmm.
Heartbeat बढ़ जाएगा, mouth becomes dry, butterflies in your stomach.
Have you ever been to Vipassana?
No, not yet.
Okay. That's what they tell you there.
Yes, but I'm very keen on doing that.
Yeah. You love it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do it this year. But any emotion, if it's strong enough, it sort of spills over.
Yeah.
And then all your emotion, all your senses get affected. I think what happens when you hear a song like Vande Matram, especially in a crowd where everybody's singing, is that you feel things. You feel a lot of emotion. You feel oneness with 80,000 more people. You feel the music kind of taking you up and up. There is dopamine building up in your brain. There is serotonin building up. There's oxytocin building up. Then there is adrenaline building up.
Because the pitch going up.
The pitch is going up. So there's like an element of techno in it, because there's like a beat goes up, and then there's sort of like a drop. So that sense is also working on your neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
And what you are experiencing is a very strong emotion, which then spills over, and then every sense in your body gets overwhelmed. So you are seeing things, you are hearing things, you are feeling things. So that is what happens. So it's a component of ASMR plus excess emotion. That's what happens.
I always imagine that अगर उस same जगह पर वंदे मातरम को हटा के we put, let's say, a चन्ना मेरे, तो will I be feeling the same thing?
Something different. It will be different. There is something about Vande Matram. तुम कुछ भी बोलो यार, it's a song that we have heard since childhood, but somehow made better by Rahman. Vande Matram तो हमने सुना है, बचपन से सुना है, but what he has done is made it into like an anthem. It connects to us, and more than, say, for example, he plays any other song, Chaya Chaya, you might get closeness with the people immediately around you, but Vande Matram, you cannot deny the feeling of patriotism that comes in. You feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. In that 1 second, in those 10 seconds, you feel like you're a part of a nation. You feel like you're a part of something much bigger. That is always a special feeling. A component of that you also feel in religion. So in church choirs, if you've ever attended like a Sunday mass in a big church, and everyone is singing the same song, you can feel that. So I've attended that and I felt it. Because it's part of, I'm part of this big community. And there's also God, right? Something beyond me, something which is beyond who I am. So you have this sense of both feeling small at the same time feeling big. So Vande Mataram, I feel, does something like that. You feel connected to something beyond you. So that can be very powerful.
The song that you like as a person, for example, Vande Mataram se mujhe khayal aaya ki a person, there's a degree of patriotism that all of us have.
Yeah.
Does that sort of affect how much will I feel when I hear this song? Or I'll just make it a generic question, which is a song that you end up liking. Does it say something about your subconscious makeup? Anything, like, does it tell me something about you at this point?
Absolutely. Like, for example, when if I see the World Cup, say Spain won the World Cup maybe 4 years ago, Football World Cup, 4 or 8 years ago. And at the end of it, they were all standing there and the Spanish national anthem was playing. I was happy that Spain won because I was supporting them, but I didn't get goosebumps. India won the Cricket World Cup and Jana Gana Mana was playing. I felt it. So 100%, it's not just the music, it is your psychological state, what you are feeling, right? You feel that connection to that moment. And the music is almost like an add-on. The music elevates everything, but it is fundamentally elevating something that is already there. If I'm not feeling good, music cannot make me feel better. Especially in that one moment,
Hmm.
that overwhelming feeling I'm getting is
Hmm.
amplification of something I'm already feeling.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
So yes, absolutely. You have to feel that core thing first.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't I don't get high on listening to another team's national anthem when they win.
Right.
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 And I definitely feel that when India wins.
In cricket, it's a prime example, right? Two teams stand up and pehle unka anthem, fir aapka, and you feel you're almost looking at it in a different way. Like,
Yeah.
what is this song? Does it sound like something that I've heard? You know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I can totally understand why uncles send those forwards on WhatsApp that India's national anthem has been voted as the best national anthem in the world. I get it. It's neuroscience. I get why you feel that. It's your thing.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
No judgments.
No judgments. I don't even think that's conscious, right? They're liking this thing. That's just
Yeah. It's
their
very
thing.
primal. It's very primitive.
Also coming to that, which is the same memory card story. When I found it, I had songs from 2011 or 12 when I was just in a one-sided relationship with a girl for long. Then all the songs that somehow there were had a pattern in it, which were all of them were about unrequited love. Sajni paas bulao na ke dil aaj toota hai, jab bana uska hi bana. There was some KK song also. I was like, wait. I didn't consciously do this. Music is filling something that I can't articulate. It's doing something without permission also. I don't know it, but it's like a sorcery. It's happening by its own. So, do we have this need to express our unarticulated emotions through music?
Basically, breaking an emotion is hard work. Okay. You feel something. You know that much कि कुछ तो हो रहा है, but वो क्या हो रहा है वो समझने में time लगेगा, effort लगेगा. Your prefrontal cortex has to look into your limbic system, take this wordless, shapeless thing and give it structure, give it meaning, give it words, put the words together in a way that makes sense. This is effort. Understanding your emotion is effort.
Yeah.
But when you take that nameless, shapeless thing and you hear something like a song, you know कि oh, this is the same. मुझे जो feel हो रहा है वही है ये. So your brain is very happy कि without me putting in the effort, now I have something that I can point to and say, you see this song, this is what I'm feeling.
Now, my PFC is getting happy.
Yes. My PFC is getting happy because now I don't have to do the work. Imagine if there were no love songs. And imagine if everybody had to process their emotions and write their songs themselves. Log pagal ho jate hain. Right? Which is why art is so useful. One person has done the work, the emotional work of understanding their emotions and given it to others so that others can point at that and say, mujhe wo chahiye. Or this is what I'm trying to say. I can send somebody a song and say, this is how I feel about you. मैंने कुछ काम नहीं किया है. That person has done the work. But I can send somebody a song and she would be very happy also. Like, oh, this is what you feel about me. So art is sort of like a placeholder for emotional work. So if I've gone through a heartbreak and I hear a heartbreak song, I'm like, yes. So yes, you are sad. But a part of your brain is also happy that you don't have to put in the work to understand your sadness. So it's a mixed feeling. So people often wonder, right? Ki why do heartbreak songs make me happy? It's because of this. Because your heartbreak is sad, but not doing work is great.
Wow.
It's like our brain is very lazy. So one thing, if you want to learn about neuroscience, you have to learn this, that our prefrontal cortex is very lazy. So anytime anyone makes any part of your PFC's job easier, that person is a god. And the better they make your life easier, or the more easy they make your life, the more you appreciate them.
Okay. That sort of takes me to a question, which is, abhi to lazy hai ye. We are carrying the baggage of our past
Yeah.
with our brains, right? It's
Yeah.
वो सुलाता है हमें, मैकडी देख के उसे कंट्रोल नहीं होता है. पर म्यूजिक के साथ भी डू यू थिंक कि हमारा रिलेशन चेंज होगा? इट विल इवॉल्व इनटू समथिंग एल्स एज इट बिकम्स लिटिल स्मार्टर, गेटिंग अकस्टम्ड few like thousands years बाद. डू यू थिंक म्यूजिक के साथ रिलेशनशिप चेंज हो
I
सकता
think
है
so.
या हो रहा है ऑलरेडी?
I think it's
अब
already
तो
happening.
फ्लड ऑफ कंटेंट आ रहा है, राइट? पहले जो गाने हमें कितने आराम से अच्छे लग जाते थे, अभी तो इतना मुश्किल से 2024 में मुझे कुछ अच्छा ही नहीं लगा बॉलीवुड में.
Yeah. Yeah, I think two things are happening. Number one, the people who create music, I feel they have stopped putting in the emotional work. Which is why I think you are liking songs less and less. I think like any art form, एक point के बाद वो एक science बन जाता है, बहुत theoretical बन जाता है. And लोगों ने फिगर आउट कर दिया है कि अच्छा एक वायरल म्यूजिक बनाने के लिए ये करना है, ऐसा ड्रॉप बनाओ, ऐसा बीट करो, बस मेक इट डांस वर्दी एंड डन,
राइट?
which is cool. If the point of making music is to create a viral song, then they are achieving that. But it's not art. Because like we just said, art is emotional work. Art is converting something that people are feeling into a format that they can now experience. So art is converting emotion to experience. And that takes work. And an artist is supposed to do that so that people who are not artists can also experience that. Right? I don't think many music creators are making music with the purpose of that. That's not the point of what they're doing. So I don't think they're failing. I think they're succeeding in what they're trying to do.
Right.
But I also think that is why you are not liking songs anymore. Because they're not reflecting your emotions. And that means part of your frustration is that now तुम्हें emotion समझने के लिए खुद काम करना पड़ रहा है.
या
And that
पुराने
sucks.
गाने सुनने पड़
फिर
रहे
पुराने गाने सुनने पड़ रहे हैं. And that sucks.
हैं.
But that's also a good thing because I feel it will make you explore more. Because just because the songs that you are listening to is not fulfilling that emotional need doesn't mean that no art form out there is doing it. And I would say that you should explore newer art forms. जो बहुत established है. जैसे I think the Bollywood music industry is now very established. उसमें कुछ ज़्यादा experiment करना मुश्किल हो रहा है. But maybe if you go to say newer genres, maybe there is still experimentation. Maybe there are still artists putting in that emotional work to explain something. Poetry was that for some time. A lot of really, really nice poems were coming out which were explaining some nuanced things that, people don't really talk about. उसके बाद फिर थोड़ी देर में उसमें भी saturation आ जाएगा, उसमें भी templates आ जाएंगे.
Right.
So that's maybe what we need to do is to keep exploring new art forms to try to find things we relate to.
So one thing that I have personally struggled with myself is नए genres को explore करना. क्योंकि यहाँ की predictability मुझे बहुत, because शायद मेरा एक sense of self, एक identity का part जुड़ा हुआ है इससे. So I'm very comfortable. This explains me.
Yeah.
Like how we are comfortable with our partners. Right?
Yeah.
She explains me.
Yeah.
That way कुछ Bollywood के कुछ गाने 50 songs I can pick up and say this explains me. Then to go into let's say blues and listening to I don't know, even going to a John Mayer, right? Just trying to understand कि वो ऐसे क्यों गाता है and what is he trying to convey, whatever, is an uncomfortable thought.
Yeah.
But I can't explain why it's uncomfortable. Maybe you can.
Whenever you approach a new art form, थोड़ा सा effort लगता है. है ना, understanding. We just spoke about Picasso, right? वो थोड़ा सा effort लगता है to fully appreciate what that artist is trying to do. And the payback is huge. If you put in that work, the payback is huge. But work डालना पड़ेगा. And that is why people don't do it. But I feel that जिन्होंने भी एक नया art form explore करके वो एक बार payback experience कर दिया, then they will be more likely to do more. For example, most people in India would be watching Hindi movies. Correct?
Right.
And most of the people in the newer generation who have grown up with English would be watching English movies and English sitcoms. There is a small subset of people who have experienced foreign films. And I mean films from Europe. Italian films, French films, Spanish films, Korean films. Those who have put in some work. Because there is some discomfort. Right? तुम subtitle पढ़ो. Discomfort है. आसान नहीं है.
Right.
But जिन्होंने भी वो effort डाला है, उनको payback मिला है. ठीक है? They have enjoyed that. They have found certain films to talk about emotions that other films have not. So they have really found that payback.
Right.
This also makes them so happy that they can't stop talking about it. Nobody who watches foreign films and Italian, French, Spanish films will not tell you about it.
I see a recent phenomena about Malayali movies.
Yes.
People talking about it. जो देख लेते हैं, then they're like, dude, तू क्या देख रहा है? You don't know वहाँ क्या हो रहा है.
Correct.
And it's similar for us. For us, the struggle is similar to understand Malayali movies. They also have a very different cultural understanding, right? तो हमें तो यहीं पे पहले समझने में इतनी struggles हैं.
That's true. We don't even have to leave India for this.
Yeah.
Even regional films have so much to offer.
Right.
Like Telugu films are so different. In fact, I think Bollywood is finding out that Telugu and Tamil films have more relatability because of it being slightly, larger than life, over the top. So Bollywood has realized that, we love that.
Yeah.
I always feel Malayalam movies are a bit more subtle.
Yeah.
They're not too in your face. Yeah. Like, for example, a film like Kumbhalangi Nights. If you've seen it. It's you as a Bollywood film enthusiast, you will keep waiting for something to happen. Like, where is the crescendo? When is it coming to a like a high? Yeah. And you realize, itna hi hai. But then there is so much depth. Like you keep looking for the high, but you forget about the depth. And that's what a lot of films used to be. It used to be slower and deeper. I think more Malayalam movies are exploring that side of filmmaking more than the loud noises and the machine guns. They're exploring that emotional side, which is really cool. But it takes effort. Because once you get used to the loud ones, it's like cocaine. Like you don't have to put in any effort to get high. The drug does it for you. Whereas here you have to put in some effort to enjoy.
I want to talk about this effort, which is why it is naturally so easy for me to see the bravado, the highs and lows of a movie. कुछ बड़ा जैसे I think RRR for example, drama दो मुझे.
Correct.
Versus कुछ subtle दो. For example, my mother watches a lot of these RRR kind of movies. Yeah. But then I made her watch Masan. She's like, wow, how to make sense of it? ये क्या हो रहा है? हो ही क्यों रहा है? Even when I watched it, the start is such a cold start. And I was like, एक second, this made me very uncomfortable. Yeah. But then the movie goes somewhere else, takes you on a journey. Yeah. And it's very uncomfortable to watch, even for a second or a third or a fourth time.
Yeah, it is.
So naturally, I think we are more inclined towards drama.
Yes, we are more inclined towards ready-made dopamine. So I always feel like these over-the-top movies give you the final product. Okay? Whereas some of the more subtle movies give you the ingredients. You have to make the final product.
Wow.
And that is the effort.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like going and directly eating a cake versus getting the cake mix and making it at home and then having it. Yeah. Many times you don't want to put in that effort. Like give the loud noise, make the adrenaline in my body go up automatically so that I experience it as excitement. So I don't have to do it. James Bond movies, if I were to see it, or even RRR, suppose if you were watching it with only dialogue, no music, how would it be? It'll be very underwhelming. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It'll almost seem comical. Yeah. If suppose you're watching the tiger jump out in complete silence. Yeah. Kya chal raha hai? But the music adds to it. There is so much of stimulation that your adrenaline is already up. And that is what your body interprets as excitement. So your body's like, great, maza aa gaya. Maza aana is adrenaline going up. But that maza aana was not your thing. You did not make any conclusion. You did not interpret anything in a special way. They packaged it and gave it to you. So it's spoon feeding. Nothing wrong with that. We all like junk food. Nothing wrong with it. But learning to cook is effort.
You will always find more buyers if you're in a business for the ready-made stuff.
100%.
Right?
Less effort. What did I tell you? PFC is lazy. Anyone who puts in effort to make your PFC do less work will be successful. Don't complicate things. Don't make it hard for me. Don't make it effort for me. Spoon feed me and I will give you money. That is the way that the world is. It has always been that way. No judgments. But we should know this. And people who put in effort have a very different kind of pleasure. Right? They have the pleasure of the work.
Yeah.
उनको मजा आता है.
Right.
कि मैंने ये एक obscure movie जाके देख लिया, subtitle पढ़ लिया, समझ लिया और मुझे उससे मजा आ गया. So that's a different kind of person or same person in a different mood. So again, I feel like I love the bang bang movies. But slow movies have their own pleasure. Right? So it's like techno has its own place. But a slow jazz has its own place.
Right.
And when you asked about how will music change in the future, I think more and more people will understand this. Instead of letting some music randomly affect you, I think people will understand that this song affects me this way. So it's sort of like biohacking. So I'll call it music hacking. Figure out what song affects you how. And now hack it. If you're getting up and you want to feel a particular way, play that song. It's like a direct remote control into your emotions. So I've started doing that. So there are I have certain playlists for when I'm working.
Right.
So after a while you train yourself. Ye gana baja, ye.
You get into the mood immediately.
Yes.
Right.
So for that you have to explore all genres, all range. So there are moments for John Mayer's Gravity. I know those moments. You want that emotion, you put on that song. Slow dancing in a burning room. I know that moment. You play that. You get into it. It's not rocket science. Right? And there are moments for Bonobo. There are moments for Ben Bomber. Like, okay, you hit that song. You get into that. But you have to explore for that. Right? I think people will do this more and more and more. Spotify mein dhoond lo na. Like you just search for any emotion and there is somebody out there who's already made a playlist.
Yeah. And even if you don't know that person, there is some sort of connect which you feel with the person that likes the same music, right?
Oh yeah.
That social aspect of it. We're wired for that, right?
If I make a playlist and I've put in effort over the last 1 year, and these are songs that I relate to, and I share that playlist with somebody, I'm basically sharing a year of my emotions and what I consider as a very intimate aspect of me with them. And if they like it and they say, oh, this reflects who I am, that means that, oh, we have a lot in common now.
Without us even exchanging a word.
Anything. I might not know their name.
Yeah.
But this is sort of like a detour into a very deep part of ourselves. So you tell me 10 songs. In fact, at one point, I wanted to suggest this to dating apps. Like, okay, everybody just put down their top 10 or top 50 favorite songs or connect Spotify Wrapped with a dating app. And just see how much match there is. There is a big chance that you will find more people that you can connect with.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like an entire community based on music choices.
Music dating.
Yeah. Yeah, musical dating.
Wow.
We can do this.
Wow. We live in a country where we want to make hit songs because it's a marketing tool, right? But in the same paradigm stays Amit Trivedi and AR Rahman. And especially AR Rahman, I think the kind of cult that he has cultivated now for past 20-25 years, क्यों हो रहा है? ये coexist कर रहा है, I understand. But a lot of people like AR Rahman. It's not a fringe. बहुत लोगों को पसंद है और over the years पसंद है. रंग दे बसंती was now 20 years back.
Yeah.
When you were in MBBS,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Sorry to say.
No, I have
Way back.
way back when when it was fashionable to wear cargo pants.
Yeah. I remember
Back then.
Shahid Kapoor and Chappie Met, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. But he has survived and people have started building this relationship with his music.
Yeah.
Right? For example, Luka Chippy. When Khalbali came, people were just noticing that.
Yeah.
But now then, so my friend told me he loves Luka Chippy. He said, I only discovered it in 2014. And then it became something for me. Right?
Yeah.
Which also tells you that the songs that anyone is creating today for Bollywood has a long shelf life. They can be discovered at a later point. बस वो तब आपको शायद उस तरीके से पे ऑफ नहीं देंगे कि आज मूवी हिट नहीं करके देंगे आपको.
Yeah.
Right?
So songs that hit you emotionally will stay.
Yeah.
Songs that have a viral dance move attached to it may not stay because they are very current. Right? They are very following a trend. And no judgment on either of those songs. I think they're both made for a very different purpose. But I think Luka Chupi hits you at an emotional level. And the thing with emotions is that you are never running out of emotions. Right? In the next 40, 50 years of your life, you are going to feel this emotion again and again. So a song like Tauba Tauba, I feel, interestingly also I think hits minor notes, but hits it in a dance beat form. So there is a bit of that
Dip,
in it. There's a dip in it. But then it's because of the background beats and the overall vibe of the song. It's not. It'll never be considered as a sad song. It'll always be like a hippie fun song. But it's also going to go into. It doesn't make you feel anything emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing in the song or the lyrics that makes you feel anything emotional. If anything, it brings back memory of that dance move. Right. And so that dance move would become popular and it'll always stay in our memory for that dance move.
Right.
But Luka Chupi hits you at an emotional level. And that's why it'll always go deeper.
Right.
So, both of these, and I think AR Rahman is going to be immortal because of that. I think he puts in more effort to make more of his songs hit you emotionally. Kun Faya Kun. Definitely has that feeling.
So that song has been heard by 780 million people. How many of them can tell you what Kun Faya Kun means? No, right?
That is true.
That's the mysticism.
Yeah.
Which intrigues me.
Yeah.
And that without permission, it can go into your system and affect you that way.
Yeah.
That wherever it plays, you just want to sit down and want to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
And have they packaged the vibe? Packaged is not the right word. Have they taken the vibe of that dargah, the piece of it, the piece of spiritualism that I haven't still asked myself, am I spiritual or no? But I can still feel something connected to something, that oneness. It's not about religion, I feel. It's very innate, basic. Because sare log across all religion feel something for Kun Faya Kun.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, I think that we shouldn't even say it's not about religion because what we are referring to is something that religion is about. This is not about religion. Both music and religion are about something. It is that thing that we are trying to explore. And religion is also trying to explore that. Music is also trying to explore that. It is that something more. You feel like there is some connection with something more. And these are all different paths to that same exploration.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, science is the same. Why is science? What is driving science? This feeling that we have not discovered all that there is to discover. We have not understood the world yet. That sense has never left us. All human beings are driven by that sense of at least the explorers in us. There are some people who don't explore, some people who explore, but all the explorers in us are driven by that sense of kuch to hai aur. There's something more to experience, there's something more to learn. And religion is also doing that. And songs like this do that exact same thing. That's what spirituality is. You look up. That's what astrology is.
Yes. Just taking that thoda sa aage, which is anyone can sing anyone can replicate a music. मैंने सुना किसी को गाते हुए, and I feel a lot of playback artists are very good mimic artists. For example, Sonu Nigam mimics Rafi Saab. It's the inaccuracy that makes him Sonu Nigam. You try to imitate your masters, and the imperfections make you original in your own sense. So क्या पूछा था मैं भूल गया. Wow, मेरे को एकदम ऐसे बोल के मजा आ गया ये.
I mean, I loved it. Actually, what you said, I
Yeah.
really loved.
Yeah.
It's the inaccuracies that make you who you are.
Yeah.
What a thought.
Yeah.
Because none of us are born original. Right? And
Yeah.
हम लोग के अंदर जो भी है, कहीं ना कहीं से तो कॉपी किया हुआ है, कहीं से तो आया है. But we have failed in copying perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's us.
That's us.
So we are all failed misrepresentations, or we are all failed representations of what we like. Damn.
Awesome.
Dude, I love that.
So ये पूछ रहा था मैं कि when so कोई भी गा सकता है. We all start our singing journeys with imitation, but when we become or we try to be musicians कि मुझे ये particular note ही गाना है या इस तरीके से ही गाना है, तो are we also then involving our prefrontal cortex more, which is then instructing our what is music training in this whole scheme?
Sure. Like music training has, I would say, 3 parts. One is learning to listen. What are you listening to? Because initially when you're listening to a song, you're listening to a song. Even the idea that a song is made up of notes and an instruments are not just sound going on in the background, but they're actually separate instruments. And each instrument is played in a separate way. Even this understanding, a lot of people will not have.
Yeah.
They're just listening to the song. So all the things that they're hearing in a song is just part of one sound for them. Nothing wrong in that. But I think learning music, ka step 1 is just separating out all the constituents of music. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you do that, you can go deeper into any one. So you can go deeper into vocals or beats or bass guitar or whatever.
Right.
So suppose if you're taking vocals and you go deeper into vocal and you realize that, when they're singing all these different notes and they're stitching together these notes in a particular way. And that is how each singer is different from one another. They are all still singing notes, right? Every singer who has ever sung anything is singing notes.
Yeah.
But the way they have stitched the notes together is slightly different. Right? And that is what makes each singer unique.
Yeah.
So how well can you copy what somebody else has done would be the next step in training. So if I say so and you say so, great, you can copy me.
Yeah.
And now can you copy more complicated things?
Right.
Until you can perfect the copying part, we will keep training you.
Yeah.
And then comes the how can you change it now? तुम अभी इतना सब कुछ तुमने सीख लिया है. Now try to make mistakes, but voluntarily. So the difference between genius and stupidity is that mistakes are voluntary in art, in creativity.
Right.
Whereas if you have not been trained, वही चीज तुम गाओ, but तुम कंट्रोल से नहीं गा रहे हो. तुम कंट्रोल से मिस्टेक नहीं कर रहे हो. तुम इसलिए मिस्टेक कर रहे हो क्योंकि तुम सही तरह से गाना नहीं आता. That's the difference. So it's the same in any art form. I feel like even in poetry, the people who say that, oh, I don't write in rhyme, I don't like to write in meter, I feel they're doing themselves a disservice. So are you not writing because you don't want to, or are you not writing because you can't? It's a very big difference.
Yes.
Right? So writing what you feel in a poetic way is poetry. But have you learnt the craft? And then are you breaking the rules?
Right.
Versus are you just doing whatever you want because the craft is too much? So it's the same thing with music.
Yeah.
Learning the swaras, learning the ragas, learning to sing in a particular way, and then breaking it. That is that's the flow of learning an art form.
I had to talk to you about because you yourself had some experience with classical music. There are rags, right?
Yeah.
Carnatic and then Hindustani. I'm much more aware of the Hindustani classical rags. They are combination of notes played in a certain manner while rising up or coming down, and they evoke a certain emotion. This connect between combination and emotion is what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
From a brain's perspective, why will that evoke a certain emotion only?
Sure. I don't have a complete answer to this.
Yeah.
Because I feel this is part of the magic of music, that
Yeah.
some things honestly are not understood.
Hmm.
And this is because of a lack of knowledge in both neuroscience and music. I don't think we still have fully understood music. I don't think we fully understood neuroscience, obviously. हम लोग अभी तो शुरू कर रहे हैं. But something happens in the calculation. So like I said, sa, pa, sa, that is a calculation.
Yeah.
Every note between this is also calculation.
Yeah.
Now, some calculations are easier, some calculations are harder. So it's a matter of fractions. So I can double a note more easily. I can come back to a base note easily.
Yeah.
Which is why I get the sense of, oh, पहुंच गए.
Right.
ठीक है?
Right.
So if the bass note is every time the music hits back at that bass note, I feel a sense of relief.
Yeah.
I feel like हम घर आ गए वापस.
Yes. Yes.
Which is why a lot of really peaceful songs keep coming back to the bass note.
Yeah.
Whereas songs that don't come back to the bass note keeps you slightly on your edge. And when they do come back to the bass note finally, you feel a sense of, okay, good.
Wow.
Okay. So a lot of Coldplay songs circle around the bass note. Say yellow. It was all yellow. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Back to yellow.
Da-da-da-da-da. They keep coming back to the bass note again and again.
Yeah.
Fix you. All around the bass note, circling around it.
Yeah.
It's calming. It's slow. So that effort that your brain has to put into calculation is less. I feel like certain ragas use notes which are not easily measured. So they are in difficult fractions. So the notes that use R1 or G2, some of those notes are slightly harder. So can you sing an octave for me, like Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa?
Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa.
Perfect. Okay. Now just sing Sa Re Ga.
Sa Re Ga.
Okay. Now sing Ra in a slightly lower tone.
Sa Re Re.
Louder.
Sa Re. So I'm trying to
Correct.
take it somewhere.
Yes.
But I have to go from that Re.
Re. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So what you have now sung is Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. Like, that's the classic Western one.
Yeah.
So Sa Re. Sa Re.
Somewhere there. But it's making me uncomfortable.
Yes. That is why.
Yeah.
So Sa Re is easier.
Yeah.
Sa Re is slightly. That's the minor tone. That's that. कुछ तो अटक रहा है यार, वो क्या है? And if you add that and you have only the minor notes, you kind of feel like, and that discomfort is because of, I think, the difficulty in calculating the notes.
Wow.
Because you have to put in a little bit more effort
Yeah.
into that, whereas the other one seems to come a little easier.
Wow.
See, there's also a lot of context to it.
Yeah.
A good musician would be able to take a minor note and put it in a happy context also. And I've learned this through color psychology.
Okay.
Which is people say that, bright red can be like horror and blood and all that. But in a different context, it's also food and happy. And so there is context to everything.
Yeah.
And the background matters. So in color psychology now, what people have understood is that it's not the color itself. It's what you place the color in front of that the brain interprets. Because our brain cannot take anything in isolation. It is always comparing it with the environment.
Right.
So you take you take purple, and you put it against yellow. It's like a like powerful, happy, or even against white. But if you take purple and you put it against dark green, it's a different emotion. Like, what is this? This is not going.
Yeah.
Like, even though purple is still purple.
Yeah.
So it's similar with music.
Yeah.
It's what you put it in context to, what is coming before and after that matters. But if you're still trying to understand a particular note, this is why minor notes are a bit, something is off with that. And that off is what I interpret as misplaced fraction. वो calculation में थोड़ा सा problem है. Whereas some notes are easier to calculate. Sa pa sa. अरे कितना मस्त है. But if I have to drop to the 7th note, I can't even drop to the knee one quickly.
Can you think of a song which you think should have been a sad song but kind of makes you happy?
I think Tu Hi Re has minors.
Tu Hi Re has weird chords.
Yes, Tu Hi Re has minor notes.
Yeah.
So that there is that, because it's supposed to be happy or a
longing,
romantic song, but it's longing, and there's some amount of sadness involved in that song.
Especially when it goes in सांसों का देखो तुम पागलपन के. It's like
कुछ तो हो रहा है. And that is because of the use of the minors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you compare this with a song like Pal Pal Pal. Correct. So it's because it's the notes are easier, and the tune is also hippie. They're easier to calculate.
Can you ever say a sad thing in this tone? No, right?
I see. I think that an artist, a good artist, would be able to take anything and convert it into anything. That's a sign of a good art.
Yeah.
Good artist.
Yeah.
But in essence, this is the science of it.
Right.
And it's a great experiment.
Yeah.
Like, for example, can you write a happy poem using only sad words? So if you were a poet and I would give you this challenge that I have a list of 10 words: sad, upset, depressed, annoyed, or horrified. Now I want you to write a happy poem using these words, one of these words in every line.
Yeah. You just have to keep negating it.
Could be.
Say dukh nahi hai.
Could be. That is one way of doing it. The other way to do it might be to make it a funny poem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be make jokes about all these emotions.
Yeah.
So depending on what quality of artist you are, you could find ways to play around with it.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody who's not a poet, who's trying to write poetry for the first time would really struggle.
Yeah.
They'll be like, how can I write a happy poem with these words? It's not possible.
Right.
So similarly, I don't think you can not write a happy song with minor notes.
Yeah.
I think it's more challenging.
Right. Now I have quick questions for you.
Yes.
First of which is, have you heard Ik Bagal?
Remind me?
एक बगल में चांद होगा एक बगल में. It's a Piyush Mishra song, no?
No.
Okay, anyway, that song talks about Chand and Loriyan. Loriyan, lullabies, right? Lullaby.
This is the one that you mentioned before this, right?
Yeah. Lullabies is Loriyan, right? Is there something specific musically about lullabies that sort of makes us, I don't know, comfortable? Is it just memory or something more than that?
I think there are a couple of things. One is definitely the memory of your mom or be somebody in your house singing those lullabies. That association with sleep, with mainly safety. I think the main connection is with safety. कि अभी सब कुछ ठीक है, तुम सो जाओ. The idea of a lullaby is that there is somebody singing the lullaby. It's not really the lullaby itself. It's the idea that मैं सो रहा हूँ, लेकिन कोई तो जगा हुआ है.
Wow.
मुझे देखने के लिए.
Wow.
So the song is a audio guarantee कि मैं हूँ इधर. तुम सोते रहो, आँख बंद करो, but you can still hear me.
Wow.
So you can be safe. You can close your eyes. You don't have to keep looking. You don't have to be anxious. Because you can hear me singing. है ना? And जब तक मैं गा रही हूँ, तब तक मैं हूँ यहाँ पे. So that is the concept of the lullaby. It's like a hug. मैं हूँ. I don't think you ever outgrow that. I don't think you ever outgrow the need to be safe, to feel loved, to want somebody around you.
Especially when you're adult and you have to put up a face that I'm brave enough, and it sort of reminds you that
Correct.
of the safety.
Yes. I think every adult is working very hard to create a safe space where they can be a child.
Wow.
That's what it is. That's what life is.
Yeah.
मुझे लग रहा है. You just want to create a space where, bhai, let me act like a kid. I think that's why people want to hang out with friends that they feel safe with. That's why I think that's also why people drink, because then they have a socially acceptable way of acting stupid. Arey, he's drunk. It's not him. He's drunk. There's some element of that also. You have that sense, and your inhibitions are lowered, all of that stuff.
Right.
It's also why you want to get into a relationship, because there is this one person with whom I can do baby talk with. Who else can you do baby talk with? Right. But then any couple who's been together for say 3-4 years, 100% they have baby talked with each other. They talk in words that nobody else understands. Like, oh no, you are. ऐसे कौन बात करता है? Right? We are adults. We go to work. We pay taxes. Who talks about, oh, you are my baby? Like, we don't do that. But there's a part of you that wants to do that. There's a part of you that wants to be a kid.
Connected to safety.
Connected to safety. So I think lullabies are a part of that journey.
Yeah.
You hear that and you feel.
In the entire conversation, I think of music as this bucket or a folder that can encapsulate a lot of memories, feelings, और एक साथ unbundle कर सकते हो उसको. Lullabies में safety, something so intrinsic and primal for us is there. That way music is crazy.
Music is like a key to something very deep inside you. And when we understand how that key works, and when we learn to use it, I think we have access to something pretty great. But this will take effort on your own part. Because I don't think anybody else can find those keys for you. You have to put in the effort to understand which music, which unlocks which emotion.
Right.
It's very great. This is also what psychedelics do. This is also what some sort of mental physical exercises do. So for example, in jiu-jitsu, there are these certain hand movements which they train so that when you do that particular hand movement, you unlock a certain emotion in you. You get your body ready for fighting. So that means that you're physically now ready. After you do that particular hand movement, you breathe in a particular way. Now you're ready. Kung Fu has that. Before punching a wall or a brick, they will do a certain hand movement. They'll breathe in a certain way. They'll ground their feet in the on earth, and then they'll breathe out, and then they will punch. And you would think, why? Ultimately, अगर punch ही करना है, तो why do all of that?
Right.
But there is a logic to it, which is you're preparing your body to get ready for that. So I think music can do that to your brain.
Right.
If you've trained yourself, listen to a song, get into the mood, and then do it again and again every day. It'll help you. I've started doing it.
Yeah.
I have started experiencing the benefits, but I feel like I'm still a long way away. I think it'll take a few years of constant music training to train your brain to associate certain states of mind with a song. So yeah, nostalgia, safety, every song has one effect.
This, when you're trying to do it intentionally, takes a lot of work. As you said, it might take you a lot of years, right?
Yeah.
But happens to us automatically also. Heartbreak के time पर, first love के time पर, इतना automatically, right? Without any effort.
Without any effort.
डाला, PFC से काम करवाया तो time लगेगा.
Basically, when in moments of vulnerability, you're more open. So when your heart is broken or when you've fallen in love, you're very vulnerable. Your PFC is not working. Vulnerability मतलब क्या? PFC काम नहीं कर रहा है. मतलब your limbic is out facing the world. वो टाइम पे किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया तुमको डायरेक्ट चोट लग गई. You get hurt. So whenever you're vulnerable, music goes straight in.
सीधा.
Right? There's no guard.
Right.
So then that music stays with you.
Are you also listening to a lot of lo-fi music?
For studying.
For studying.
Yeah.
Why that works? Like अभी क्या हो रहा है, एक ट्रेंड है जिसमें पॉपुलर गानों के खुद पब्लिशर्स, खुद the studios release lo-fi versions of
Yeah.
those songs.
It's very calming because the way that lo-fi works, and I haven't read too much about the mechanics of lo-fi, but my understanding is that they avoid any high frequency sounds.
Yeah.
They avoid loud beats, but there is a constant repeated beat pattern that goes on. So it becomes very quickly predictable. Okay. They add certain counts that are calming. So I think that sound of rain falling, I've heard that in a lot of lo-fi.
Yeah.
You know, so there are some sounds that are just calming in general.
Right.
And
because of our associations.
And so the sense of familiarity. And the way lo-fi works is that you don't have to put in effort for the song to be decoded. You know, it can be decoded easily. So it just goes on in the background and you feel calm about it. That's my basic take on lo-fi. I love it.
Right.
I love it when lo-fi is music that you listen to without listening to. Like you don't have to put in effort. I automatically like it. Sometimes I want to listen to lo-fi of a particular song. It's just a strange feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. You prefer the lo-fi edition more than the...
Yeah, the other day I woke up with this craving to listen to the lo-fi version of the song. It's an old song. That song. Pata nahi kahan se. But I searched for it and I found it on YouTube. I put it on loop and I listened to it for like half an hour.
I guess I've heard it on reel. Kahin to kisi ne lagaya hai. And then it goes into, does it go into Rakhu Chopa ke main sabse bola?
It's not a remix. It's just a lo-fi version of that song.
Okay.
I'm sure that's fun too.
Another question about Jaga Jasoos.
Yes.
He stutters and dad says, sing it.
Yeah.
Why does it work
So when you're speaking, all of the networks are coming from the left side of your brain. Okay, so speech primarily is left side of the brain. Music involves a lot of right side of the brain. Now, if somebody has any issue with the left side of the brain that is preventing them from speaking, speaking is going to be difficult. But music takes a bypass. It avoids those networks and it goes through a different path. I have seen patients. I have one patient who is a doctor actually, and she had a brain tumor. And the brain tumor was on the left side of the brain. She got operated. She went through radiotherapy, chemotherapy. She's walking. The problem is she can't speak. And the other day, she came to my clinic and she was absolutely fine. She was understanding what I'm saying, but she couldn't talk. And she was saying absurd things. She couldn't find the right words. And she was getting very frustrated. She was like, मुझे बोलना है लेकिन मैं बोल नहीं पा रही हूँ. And I made her sing. And my God, she sang an entire song. And she had a beautiful voice. Without stopping, without making any mistakes, Sara words, sab kuch in place. And while she was singing, she cried. Because ever since the brain tumor, nobody had made her sing. And she herself didn't know that she can, because people think that speaking and singing are
one and the same variations.
Same. Yes, they think that they're extensions of the same thing, but it's not. It's coming from a very different part of the brain. A similar example is somebody with Parkinson who can't walk, but they can dance. So they are not able to walk properly, but you put on music and you ask them to dance and suddenly they are much more graceful. Right. Because the final product of movement can come from two separate places. So one is the conscious voluntary part, and the other is the subconscious musical part. So you can get music to do what your left brain cannot do.
Right. If I'm singing, देखा एक ख्वाब, and I take it to speaking, देखा एक ख्वाब तो ये सिलसिला. So this transition, am I also shifting my brain like
a little bit? But poetry lies somewhere in the middle, which is why people are able to remember poems much better than prose.
Yeah.
Which is why in the earlier times when writing was not a thing, people would write in verses or people would remember in verses. Because how will you remember 10,000 words as a text? But somehow when you put it into verses and you sing, you're able to remember.
Wow.
So all of these ancient scriptures were all in verses, right? Two lines ka couplets, and they were rhythmic also. You know?
Yeah. रामचंद्र कह गए सिया से. रामचंद्र कब कह के गए थे और 10,000.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So then you are able to remember songs.
Or the dohas of Kabir.
Everything.
Right?
Yes.
Wow.
Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
All of the Ramcharit, all of them were in verses.
Yeah.
And then they were written down much later. Because verses are easier to remember.
And so are songs, right? I mean, I can't even tell you कि मेरे को शायद 1,000 गाने पता होंगे इस टाइम पर.
Yes.
And why?
To the dot.
To the dot.
Like Eminem के सारे songs के lyrics, you remember them because they have a rhythmic. They have rhythm and rhyme.
Right.
And so your brain finds more patterns to remember. Whereas words have only one pattern, which is meaning. So then meaning तुम्हें याद रहेगा. तुमने textbook पढ़ा, बाद में तुम्हें meaning याद रहेगा, but words याद नहीं रहेंगे क्योंकि उसमें कोई pattern नहीं है.
So should we start like revising our exam like
if you want to,
answers,
yeah. If remembering the exact words is important to you, then you add music to it.
Yeah,
it's
remembering phone numbers, digits of phone numbers, but music.
Yes, which is why a lot of these ads also have music.
And, yeah, of course.
So if the Nirma ad would have been washing powder Nirma, ठीक है?
Done, forgotten.
भूल गया ना?
भूल गया.
किसको याद रहेगा?
Yeah.
मतलब even if the remaining lines क्या है वो
दूध से ही सफेदी
Nirma से आई. Suppose if they just say it, like a conversation, they will not remember it.
Yeah.
But the hook is the music part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's directly going into the right side and then you remember it better.
Got it. I think I'm done with all the questions.
We did it.
सब कुछ बता दिया आपने.
Do you want to end it? Do you want to say something? Or
what should I say? Tell me. So of course, I mean, that was a great conversation. I've not done many podcasts and I do love having conversations. And this was one conversation that I was looking forward to for a really long time. As I told that I convinced an entire, I am Rachi to get a elective for neuroscience and business. And God, what a course. I mean, lovely. So thank you for introducing us to this. And thank you for making us understand that out of permission music जो मुझे पसंद आ जा रहा है, there is still some sense to it. I loved when you told me that the speaking pathway and the musical pathway is different. So thank you for that, and thank you for agreeing to do this. Right?
It's my pleasure. I'm so glad that you made this happen. I know
forced you to.
No, because what I've understood is some of these conversations don't happen organically, and especially to this depth. अगर हम कहीं पे भी ऐसे मिल लेते तो we would have just exchanged some notes on music, but in order for us to go to this depth, we went to music and cerebellum कैसा connected है, वो आसानी से नहीं होता आजकल के conversations में. So I'm glad that we got a chance to do that. And now that I have you here, I'm going to take some advantage of that and maybe decode a couple of songs with you.
Yeah.
That'll be on a different video.
Yes.
Cheers, man.
Awesome.